Hey everyone, this is Pharaoh Silver, the Pharaoh of Beer Money Finance, and this is a Beer Money Roundtable, but I only have one guest for this one, and much of that is because I wanted him on. It's been a little while since I've had him on. He's been out doing a particular thing that we're going to be talking about, and the two of us are going to go over social casinos today. So with me is, everyone knows him as the OG Atlas Earth. Well, I wouldn't say the OG Atlas Earth numbers guy, but you're definitely the OG of like the minigame gods. TastyWallet's, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing, Pharaoh?
I'm doing all right. So we're gonna be talking about social casinos today because so I was introduced to social casinos from Tasty Wallet, AJ, and a couple others as well. And I started a little experiment where I went through and I did like a dozen different social casinos, did the dailies and everything. And it has been about, I want to say 6-7 months since I've done that, and I'm going to show my results on that. But for those of you that are wondering like the full potential of what social casinos can do, that was the reason why I brought Tasty Wallet with me today, because during your time away from Atlas Earth, you seem to have definitely gone you've gone full ham on social casinos, I would say.
I went nuts.
Yeah.
Yep, I went nuts.
Yeah, so yes, it's about to go nuts, everyone.
That's right.
To say,
just in a different way.
Yeah, just in a very different way. So we're going to be talking about social casinos. We're going to be talking about the good and the bad of social casinos, whether or not they're beer money. And yes, a little something at the end too I will talk about as well. And yeah, it's just going to be a short little chat here for y'all. So should I go first since I'm the one that went the free play route, basically?
Sure. Yeah, let's start with the free-to-play, because that's probably what most people are going to do.
Yeah, okay, so I will let y'all know, I have not spent a single dollar on social casinos, and I can say that. I know a lot of people have been telling me, oh, you spent money on Atlas Earth, you spent money on the Explorers Club, fine, but I can tell you I have not put a single dollar down yet on a single social casino. I have not taken advantage of any of the starting offers, I have not cared for it. All I've been focusing on is just trying to grab the house money, basically. So I'm going to show my results here, and I had to calculate stakes based off of like how much of it was free cash, how much of it was stake. But you see their stake is the most because I started it with the most, but it also has the best daily logins at an average of $1 a day. I don't think any other one has gone close. Actually, Ruby Sweeps has gone close. Lucky Land Slots can equal it as long as you keep your streak of more than 28 days going. Mm-hmm. But stake is definitely the leader on this one. So $255 for stake.
There's also Zula. Zula's $1 a day.
Yeah, Zula is also $1 a day. I'm at $113.40 on Zula. And well, part of that is because, and the reason why you're probably asking, okay, if it's $1 a day, why are there pennies in there? And it's because you have to play out the money in order to cash it out. And all of the time, I should say, you will not get 100% of your cash back. So just a heads up on that one. The only social casino where you don't have to do that is stake, at least for now. So Zula Casino was $113.40, Chumba Casino $100.40, Fortune Coins $252.28, and the only reason why for that is because I did hit a jackpot in Fortune Coins.
Nice.
Yeah, I did get a $250 jackpot with Fortune Coins. So I just
cashed out.
Yeah, all cashed out. So it went from 3 to 252, just like that, and it was with 5 Wild Buffalo. That seems to be
awesome.
Yeah, I feel like 5 Wild Buffalo is probably the best slot game, but I'll talk more about techniques later because we both followed similar techniques. Moto 101.37, Ruby Sweeps 103.30 in 2 cash outs, and I'm getting very close, by the way, to getting a third one on that one. I'm at 48.50 right now on Ruby Sweeps. Lots of plays of 5-card stud, and the 5-card stud has been really good to me on that one. Again, go to it later. 77.23 with Global Poker, 117.40 on 2 cash outs with Lucky Land Slots, 51.45 with Sportsino, 35.37 with Lucky Bird Slots for a grand total By the end of the year, this is about 7 months total of $1,207.20. That more or
Wow,
less averages about $170 per month, which,
awesome.
yeah, that's about 3 times what I'm currently making on Atlas Earth.
That's more than what I'm making on Atlas Earth.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and that's a good, and it's just clicking a button. There's very low effort involved with it, and there's a reason for that. Again, we'll go to it in a little bit, but that's how much I have made so far. Now we're going to show you what the maximum potential is with TastyWallet's spreadsheets, and I'll have that on the screen as well. For the this is hard data, so if you don't like that, you can turn away. You can listen to us. If you want to go over it, Tasty, take it away.
Thank you. So, the chart itself is a little bit misleading. And the reason why I say that is because every month I always have pending cash outs, and they're usually like in the tens of thousands of dollars in total, amounts that I haven't cashed out. So if you look at my current chart, which is, going into December, I got I think about 15 grand or something like that. Where I have in December, and that's all just pending. So and November shows like a negative number, and the reason for that is because I spent more than I actually got it cashed out in November. So if you go and you look at my chart in December, I'm likely also going to have some negative numbers as well, because I'm trying to keep that total low for tax reasons. Um, so I can carry over the majority of my profit into the next year, which looking to be about $23,000 for the end of the
Wow.
year.
23,000. And how long was this again? Was this 7 months, 8 months?
Well, officially I started in April,
Okay.
but I didn't start going ham until about, I want to say, August. And a little
So
bit in July, but because I had been taking advantage of bonuses since the beginning of
in about five
doing the
months, 5 months, you're looking at an average of about how much was it again?
it's about, yeah, let's go with $23,000.
So $4,600 a month.
Yeah, that's pretty substantial.
Yeah, that's like full-time jobs, but the risk that involves with it, like what do you do in order to get this bonus money? Like how much do you put down at a time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I use a credit card to do all my purchases, and the reason why I use a credit card is because I can take advantage of cashback. So if you look on my chart, there's two different cards that I use. I have a Capital One card that gives me 1.5% cash back, and I also use a Wells Fargo's card, which gives me 2% cash back. So, obviously I'm going to prioritize the Wells Fargo's card because it gives me more percentage cash back. And so if I'm out of funding on that one and I'm still waiting for Wells Fargo to clear a payment that I've made, because it's very important for me to constantly be paying off my credit card so I can continue to use it, then I can use the Capital One as a backup. But even then, only certain sites will work with Capital One because it's technically not casino friendly, whereas Wells Fargo is. So I try not to use that Capital One as much as possible, but it will work with certain sites.
I got to introduce you to the City
So
Double Cash card. It's basically the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah, there's another one that I was going to sign up for. I have to wait a couple of months because I got the Wells Fargo's card in August, and so I need to wait at least 6 months before I can get another one. I'm thinking about the Chase Freedom Unlimited card.
Hmm. Well, we'll look at that in a bit. So, we'll look at that in another video. But okay,
Right.
so going to the games itself. So I want to talk about like what games, and I think we played similar games on each one. Like well, now with Stake,
Right.
it's N/A. You don't have to worry about it ever. I also think
Mhm.
they don't have many deals, do they? Stake.
Stake doesn't have any deals at
Yeah.
all, but a lot of other sites, they'll have they'll have different offers. Some of them will be able to just have just one-time offers, and then other sites like Chumba or Wow Vegas, um, Ding Ding Ding, High Five. You'll be able to take advantage of bonuses multiple times. Paul's
Oh
got
yeah,
another
I'm
one.
I'm getting close to the $100 on Ding 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 as well. I should probably have that by late January. I think. I just had to leave that
Nice.
note. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Ding Ding Ding's great for daily because they have
Yeah.
these hourly um quests that you could do.
They used to not be. So for a while, Ding 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 actually took money out of your redeemable balance first. They have changed that since, though. I think they changed that
Oh
around
wow,
late summer, and yeah, now they're much better. They're a lot better now. Yeah,
that's
just
great.
yeah, that just let us know. So for the other games as well, like go ahead.
Okay, so let me give you one example,
Right.
and I'm going to use Humba Casino as an example because I no longer get promotions from them, and
All
I
right.
used to get yeah. So that's something we could talk about risk later, but one of them is I'm just going to bring up one now because it's relevant to this question. Is if you're making too much money, then sites will sometimes they'll just stop giving you promotions. So that I've run into that a lot. Anyways, so Chumba Casino has blackjack. That's probably my favorite game to play because it has the highest, what's known as the return to the player or RTP, and that is the percentage of the money that you get back on average over time. Over the long period of time. So for blackjack, it's around 99.4%. If you account for mistakes, like because I make mistakes, I usually say about 97, 98% return to the player (RTP) for that particular game. So that's about 2% edge, 2 to 3% edge to the dealer. So Chumba Casino, before I got promotion banned or promo banned, as the many of us like to call it, they had an offer where you can purchase 315 SC, or it's like sweeps coins or state coins or whatever the site's currency is. Usually it's an SC. They have other sites have their own currencies as well, but usually it's SC. So if you pay $300, you get 315 of this SC, which is basically a 5% offer. Okay, so suppose that I bought 10 of those, not just one, but I bought 10 of those. So that's $3,000. I get 3,150 SC. So that's 150 bonus that I get on my $3,000 deposit. Now, if I use the credit card, which is 2% cash back, then I'm also getting 2% off the top. It's coming right back to me. So you got 5%, and then you got 2%, so that's 7%. Well, on average, the house edge is only 2% or 3%, 2 to 3%, given the amount of mistakes that I make, which is infrequent, but it does happen. So if the house has a 3% edge, I'm getting 7%. That means that I actually have an advantage over the house. It's a couple of percentage house, edge over the house, but in the long run, if I keep my bets low, like for example, one thing that I like to do with blackjack is I will take my entire balance that has to be spent at least once. I know you talked about that, but that's a very common thing with social casinos. You have to play through the money at least one time
Correct.
before you can cash it out. And some of them, like chance, for example, you have to do 3 times on your purchases and 10 times on the free money, which is like completely horrible. Which is why I dropped that site because they do stuff like that. Um, but with chance, or excuse me, with Chumba Casino, it's just you go through it once and then you can cash it out. So if I take the $3,150 and I run through it, I can get, for example, like $3,100. All right. Well, now I've made $100 on my $3,000 that I put in, plus 2% cash back. I might only get $2,900, which means I've lost a little bit of money. Which can happen, but I might get $3,300 plus my 2% cash back. So it all kind of averages out over the long run. And the way that I like to do my betting is I take the balance that I have to be able to run through at least once, and I divide that by 300, and that becomes my bet for blackjack.
So do you only do blackjack? You don't do any of the other games?
For Chumba Casino, I do blackjack. There's other sites that have other things that they offer. Some of the stuff that I look for Rocket Dice, which is in Ding Ding Ding, as well as Zoot. I look for see what else I look for. Regular
Baccarat?
dice game,
Yeah, I
Baccarat.
do Baccarat on Moto, and I'm always I play again with Baccarat. Always play as the banker. Always play as the
That's
banker.
right. That's right. Just plays banker every time. Great strategy.
Yeah,
So, but that one's also like I think it's 99% RTP as well. Rocket Dice 98%. Dice game, it could be 98% if the house has a 2% edge.
yeah.
Um, and there's certain versions of the dice game. Like in let's see here. I think it was. Yeah, I think I mentioned Zoot earlier, but I think I mentioned the wrong context. That one actually does have a dice game, but it's not Rocket Dice. It's a uh I think you have to do like 86% or something like that. So they have a little bit more. But it still ends up being because you have to wash it 3 times, it ends up being like 80% return to the player, which there's nothing that's great there, but at least their offers, when you do deposits, it's 100% bonuses.
Oh,
So
wow.
you do the math. Yeah, yeah, it's $5. Every day it's $5. You get 10. They offer that once a day, and it's usually like in the evenings,
Oh, where's that at again?
close to night. Zoot.
Oh, it's not on my list. I don't think.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's on my list, so you can go to
yeah,
my.
I know. He's been through a lot. So he's been through a lot of these casino. I know you've been through a lot of them actually. Like got to be around 30. And
Right.
because you've been promo banned from a lot of them, so try to
Well, yeah,
explain
and
to the
I've
audience what promo banned is.
I've dropped a few as well. So promo ban is basically what that means is that they no longer offer you promotions because you're making too much money.
Is there a particular point you think, if you've seen in your measurements and your calculations, where they start promo banning
It's
you?
it's hard to say. Like it kind of happens when it happens. With Chumba Casino, it happened I think it was about a month after I started making some serious money. With High Five Casino, they promo banned me. Um, I think about 3 or 4 weeks after I started making some serious deposits and making some serious money. They also have Dice Game. Oh no, excuse me. They don't have Dice Game. They have Plinko, which is another fun game to play. I will play slot machines if I have to. Um, it's automated, which is really nice. Like WoW Vegas, for example, that one has the Wilds of Fortune. They also have Blackjack, but Wilds of Fortune is about 95% RTP, whereas the Life Blackjack is it's about like 97, 98 percent. But the advantage of doing the slot machine is that it's automated, and I like automation, so I will prefer doing the slot machine if it's a high RTP. Over the blackjack. However, something like Trumbo, where I'm doing 5% offers, I have to do blackjack in order for me to be able to make a profit at all. But I will do slot machines if I have to.
How do you determine though which slot machines have a high RTP?
That's a good question. Sometimes the sites will tell you. Sometimes there's a particular chat room I go to in the Discord. I believe it's called Social Casino Hackers. Yeah, that's what it is. Social Casino Hackers, and I do have a link to it for my website. For anyone who's interested in that,
I
there's a
will
lot of
not give
people there
links.
that
Yeah, I
will.
won't give links to anything social casino related on this channel. But
Okay,
he has the link as well. He can send it on a comment if he so wishes. So
all right, that's fine. Yeah, so you can find it there as well. Great. So yeah, that's also where I just ask questions and just ask people, well, what's the best one that you use? What's the best one that you use? And I can just kind of make trying to play around with it for a little bit. One thing you can do, which is probably the best way to go, is because sites will offer you gold coins, which is the non cash currency, and you can just start playing things and just practicing, looking to see what you get on your bets. And also, by the way, the way that I tend to bet on slot machines, on Plinko, Dice Game, etc., on all those games is I tend to gravitate towards betting the minimum as much as I can. Just whatever the minimum bet is, I could do that. Unless I have a really really high balance, like if I'm doing ding ding ding, and I have put like 10,000 in there at one time, which I often do. Um, then I'll play like I'm gonna do dice game, and I'll play $1 games instead of the minimum 10 cents for that, just because I have so much to play through, and it's going to take me forever to do 10 cents. So I do $1 for that one just because of my high balance. But if it was only about $1,000, I'd do a 10 cent playthrough on that. Because and the reason why I do that is because you can get as close to the actual RTP as you can by running through as many games as you possibly can. Also, another game that I like to play, um, which is offered by Real Prize and Gold Slips, is video poker. That's also another high RTP game. And there's charts all around.
Yeah,
You can go and look.
I was big on video poker back in the days I lived in Vegas. So
Nice.
yeah, nine
Yeah.
six jacks or better is a very popular one. I think sweep slots used to have full pay deuces wild, but they removed that recently.
Yeah, they usually remove the ones that,
I'm
make
sorry,
the
it was
players
not
the
so
most
ugly.
money.
Not so ugly ducks. Not so ugly ducks. That's what it was. It's the
Okay.
99.6 cashback.
Yeah. I like the original.
No full. Well, yeah, of course, it's 100.4, I think, or 100.6, I believe.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are wondering, okay, this is my little tip here. When you're playing video poker, you're not going to find them anymore. But a really good tip is to check the four of a kind payouts for Deuces Wild. I think it's four of a kind, straight flush, and wild roll flush. Wild roll flush has to be 125, or it has to be 25. So wild roll flush has to be 25 to 1. Straight flush has to be 9. I think it's 9 to 1. I'll have to double check that. 15 to 1. I'll have it on the screen here. But the big one that you have to look at is the four of a kind being 5 to 1. That 5 to 1 makes all the difference, because even though the straight flush and the Wild Royal are a little lower than your Not So Ugly Ducks, the 5 to 1 more than makes up for it, to where you get the 100.74% optimal strategy cash back, compared to the Not So Ugly Ducks, which is 99.68. So, and you can go
All
check
right.
that
That's
out
good
at
to
the
know.
Wizard of Odds. Wizard of Odds has that.
Right. Yeah, I highly recommend Wizard of Odds for anything that has to do with blackjack, video poker, things like that. You just go there and make sure you use the right chart. And the reason why I say that is because in blackjack there's different rules for doing blackjack, and so you have to use the right chart depending upon how the dealer operates. And there's two basic ways to figure out how the dealer operates. One is just to ask the social casino hackers, and then the other one is to play with gold to see how the dealer operates when, for example, when you're splitting aces. Are you able to hit on the aces, or is it you just when you split them, you just get the one hit and that's it? Does the dealer reveal 21 when they have it? Because if they don't, then you're playing European blackjack, and there's a different chart for European blackjack as opposed to American blackjack. And there's two sites that I'm aware of that uses European blackjack, and that is Chumba Casino, and that has the purple border. There's different blackjack versions. It's the one that has the purple border. That's the European. That one, it has a slightly higher RTP than American blackjack. So that one has the European. And then the other one, I believe, is Scrooge Casino. Um, that has it, but everywhere else that I've looked at, it has the American version, and some of them the dealer hits on 17, and some of them the dealer does not hit on 17. There's two slightly different charts for those two variations.
Uh,
Also, one other thing about blackjack is that you want to make sure that you find a version of blackjack where the dealer pays 2 to 1 on a blackjack, not 6 to 5. You want to avoid 6 to 5 as much as possible. You want to find one that pays 2 to 1 on blackjack. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. So, well, I think every social casino is 3-2, aren't they?
There's a couple I've run into. I know there was one in particular, Chef Bet, which I
Yeah.
did eventually drop because they had these crazy shenanigan rules when it came to their blackjack, and I was like, man, this is completely strange and weird. So I ended up, even though their bonuses were 100% initially, and I think they had a couple of 50% ones, and I did make money. I made, I think it was $176 32 cents, according to my spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So I did make a little bit on that, and that's one thing you can do with these is, you can make a couple of $100 and then just end up dropping the site. I don't think I've ran into a site where I didn't make money in the long run.
And for those of you that are wondering why 6-5 is worse than 3-2 in blackjack, think of it as for every $100 bet, if you get a blackjack with a 3-2 game, you would win $150. That's 3-2. Whereas with 6-5, a blackjack only nets you $120 on top of your $100 bet that you win. So you would get 220 back in a 6-5 game and 250 back in a 3-2 game. And yes, that is a huge difference. I wanted to mention another game actually on top of blackjack, baccarat. There was one social casino I saw that does French roulette, and I also would put French roulette up there. Part of the reason why is because I believe their cashback is like 98% as well, 98.5%. As long as you stick to red or black. And,
right? Do you bet red or black, or do you bet both?
Good question, actually, because if you bet both, then what happens, I believe, because either way, like I believe if you land on zero, they either, depending on the social casino, they either give you a second chance or they give you half your money back. I think most of the time they give you half your money back. So so that's the reason why because normally with with European roulette, with if it lands on a zero, tough luck, you don't get anything. In American roulette,
Right.
there's 2 zeros on the board, a 0 and a double 0, and in Vegas, modern Vegas roulette, there's 3 zeros on the board. So, but I believe with that half back, it does knock the cashback back to 1 point some. But yeah, I think you can do red and black, but most of the time,
Right.
I would just land it on one of. It depends on how much you
Right.
really take entertainment on this, and
Yeah.
again, with as small denominations as possible as well.
Right, because and I could see why that would be a viable strategy, because you're basically going to get, your 50-50 on that, and then
Right.
the house edge is basically when they land on zero.
Yeah, so French roulette is
That's the only
one.
time.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but the reason why I was mentioning the red black is because if you do it that way, then you're guaranteed to get your money back, except for if you hit zero,
And then you get half your money back, basically.
and then you get half your money back, and
But
that's yeah. So it's just something to think about.
yeah, it's something to think about, and also, in my opinion, like it's okay. So French roulette is just something where it's like, if you're just putting money down, you just want low effort, I would go with French roulette. Like, there's other games too with decently high cashback rates, like the don't pass on craps. You could do that, but do you know how much effort it is and how many dice rolls you might have to go through before you get your money back out of it, or you find out the
Yeah.
result of it? So, like, there's just way too much effort involved in craps. I wouldn't recommend it. Solitaire also has a really good cashback rate as well, but good lord, I mean, unless you like playing solitaire, fine, be my guest. But most of the time,
Right,
it's
and
gonna
there's also a higher chance of making mistakes as well. You have
right,
to make guesses in certain areas.
right,
It's just I like I said, I prefer automation.
yeah.
So a high RTP slot machine is something that I would probably prefer to use if I was operating off of a 30, 40, 50 or higher percent bonus on an offer. Just because then I can just sit there and watch YouTube, or I can watch something with my wife and just have something like my wife and we watched the entire Harry Potter series not that long ago, and while that was going, I was just in the background, I was just running the Wilds of Vegas on WoW, and I just let that run. It's 100 spins at 10 cents a spin. You end up spending $10, and I do that. It runs for a while, and then I could just just find a spot where I can go back to it and just hit a couple of buttons and it runs again.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds
And
like
then
you've been making.
I don't really have to. Yeah, I don't have to do much of anything.
You made basically a second full time job out of this.
Well, I mean, yeah, basically because of the amount of money that I've made, and
Yeah.
a lot of that's largely because I've been taking advantage of margins on blackjack. Uh, Chumba and Pulse, particularly, are the heavy hitters, which is why Chumba has now promo banned me, and Pulse hasn't completely promo banned me, but they throttle me to a $1,500 a week limit. That's the maximum that I could spend on the site.
I mean, honestly, I kind of prefer the throttling over the just straight up permabanning, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I would as well. But because
Yeah.
at least I have some opportunity to make some money, even if
Yeah.
it's like $20-$30 a week.
Yeah, which is better than none, absolutely.
Hmm.
Uh, so like, so the there's a couple things though that we want to talk about regarding this too, and that's like I know as much as you're making and as much as I'm making, like this clearly looking like a great opportunity and all that. Would you consider social casinos beer money? I'll start with you on
Okay,
this one.
that's a great question.
Yeah.
So let's think about what beer money is. So my understanding of beer money is a particular either website or an app where someone has low, it could be low effort, it could be high effort. I don't think the amount of effort is really relevant to what a beer money is. Because obviously Atlas Earth, there's a lot of effort if you're going to do the mini games, right? And that's considered beer money.
Correct. Yes.
So whereas you could have another site like uh 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 shoot, I can't think of one. uh Gosh, let me look at my list here. I guess I'll just pick one. Ember. There we go. Good example. So that one you can just click on a button. Although I think you have to run through that now recently.
Yep. Yeah,
You
they
have to
turned
basically treat it
into
like
a
a
social casino themselves, actually.
right, they did. So maybe, bridge money. That one. You just run ads. That's all you have to do. You just run ads, and that's very low effort.
Right.
But for social casinos, you basically, in order to do the free to play route, or low spending, like you could spend 50 and you get 50. Like with Ruby Sweeps, for example, there's an offer for that, for introductory offer. I think twice a week they do a 20 for 20 that you could do. So that means it's low expenditures. So you do stuff like that. And then it does have a high minimum. That's another thing that we have to consider. Is it has a usually minimum about $50 to $100, and you have to give them your ID. You have to verify your address. You have to verify. Sometimes you have to give them tax documents. Sometimes you have to give them bank statement or utility statement, something that proves that you are where you are where you live. So you do have to surrender that kind of information if you're going to do any kind of social casinos. Doesn't matter what it is, whether you go free to play or not. Um, but the whole concept of beer money is that it's it's a way for you to make some pocket change where you can either have no expense at all, which is what you're doing, and you've made $1,200, right?
Yep. Yep.
So clearly you can make some money off of this. It's like $170 a month, which is not insignificant, but
And
it's
I have
not
far less of a
what
chance of getting promo banned as well.
exactly, because you're not making deposits. So you're just collecting. Although what could happen is, which has happened to a lot of social casinos, is that they'll throttle how much you get, or they'll make the rules a little bit different. Like they might increase the number of times you have to wash. And wash is a term used to describe that basically spending the money in order to make it from unwithdrawable to withdrawable. That's a
Correct.
pretty common
Yeah.
term. Um, so if you go to free to play route, or if you spend $50 here, $20 there, doing a couple of promotions, then yeah, for you that would be considered beer money because you're not spending a whole lot. You're spending some time on it because obviously you have to click a button and then you have to play some games in order for you to cash out. But that's really not that much different from
For a
doing it
dollar
all.
a day, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, geez, I mean, you do offer walls, right? So.
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
that's it's not much different. It's just the
let me
games are
give
exactly the same.
Let me give you an example. How long do you think it would take me to make $1 a day on Roller Coin? Right?
Oh gosh. Oh, forget
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even Atlas Earth. That one, like, you have to get what, 800 some
800. Yep.
parcels before
800. Yep. My most popular video,
before
by
you
the
start.
way. Yeah, I'm plugging that. It's my most popular video. Go check it out after this one.
Right. So you can do that, which I'm not, discounting that you should, avoid doing that. I mean, you can do that. I've obviously gone beyond that. But you can do that, and you could also go to stake.us and click a button and you collect $1. You don't even have to do anything with it. You just collect it.
And it is every
You have to wait
24
24
hours.
hours.
Yeah, it'll be 24 hours. So
Yeah.
you will not necessarily be able to do it every single day. There might be days that you end up having to skip because it's going to get later and later in the day when you get it, and eventually you're going to go to sleep one
Sure.
day, start the next morning.
Yeah, that happens and happens,
It happens to
frequently
me
if you're.
twice a month, I think.
Yeah, I think for me it's about once a month.
Ah,
But yeah, it does happen. So eventually it's going to happen. Just kind of an inevitability over a
yeah,
24-hour clock. But yeah, a lot of these you just collect it at particular times, and I kind of group mine together as to when I collect them. So, but yeah, you click on a button, you play some games, you surrender your ID, give them whatever information you need to verify, and yeah, there's a high minimum, but if you play long enough, you can reach the minimum, and then you can make some pocket change. You can, buy yourself, I don't know, the Switch if you want to.
yeah.
Actually, my wife and I, we have some expenses that are coming up, and social casinos is how we're going to start paying for those extra expenses that are coming on to our household. So that's really come in handy for us. So it's something I'm just going to continue to do as long as they continue to. Um, so yeah, in my particular instance, I don't know if I could really call it beer money because I am making $4,800 a month is not really beer money. That's a side income. So I guess you can make a case for it to be beer money, and then you can make a case for it to be a side income, depending upon how far you take it.
For me, I feel like beer money involves, at least to some degree of low effort, low skill, and no commitment. And I think that social casinos definitely involve the low effort part and the no commitment part if you just click a button every single day and just get free money. When it comes to the promotions, on the other hand, though, I think that's where it stops drawing the line of it being beer money because you have. Oh, actually, the fourth thing as well. Low barrier to entry monetarily as well. So it stops becoming that low barrier to entry monetarily when you're putting down $500,000 at a time and getting that 5% bonus in order to play blackjack
Yeah.
and grab however much that you're going to be making out of that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Once you're talking about side income.
Correct.
So yeah, I think yeah, those are really valid points because it really does depend upon how you decide you're going to treat it. I mean, if you do, $20 in a site, you get 100% bonus. You're doing a first time offer, and you just do it one time. I mean, I think that would you'd still be considered, quote unquote beer money, if you were to approach it that way. Whereas if you're doing what I'm doing and spending like $40,000 a month, that's that's not beer money. That's commitment.
Well, I've been like thinking back and forth over this as well, like what is considered a low barrier to entry as well. And you're right, $20. Hey, that's not that big of a deal. But I've actually kind of called it. I've actually started calling it the. Oh, I haven't really had quite a name up for it yet, but I've currently coined it as like the upland principle, basically. And the reason
Mhm.
why I call it the upland principle is because that is kind of the spot where lines do start to blur as far as like financial commitment compared to other apps. So, like for example, with Bridge Money, earn plus $52 a year, piece of cake, no problem. Upland, if you want to make money and make any significant amount of beer money in this case on it, you have to put down a significant amount of money into the game. And then just kind of hope that you're able to make money out of it, which, by the way, there's a whole other issue I have with Upland regarding that I won't talk about here. But back at the time, usually that commitment, you had a lot of people putting down hundreds of dollars in order to try to get anywhere in that game. if you have to put down any more than $50 to $100 a month on something in order to make any significant profit out of it, it stops becoming beer money, in my opinion.
Okay, I
Yeah,
could say that.
so I would say $100 a month is a hard limit. Now, I know a lot of people would say, well, Atlas Earth is $50 a month with the Explorer Club. So does that mean that that would no longer be considered beer money? No. I think it's still considered beer money. For one, they're not. You can still progress pretty well even without the Explorer Club, so you wouldn't need the $50 a month. Whereas with Upland, you're kind of locked in at the $50 a month mark because the only sort of free profit that they have available is the treasure hunting, which now will make you an average of about 15 cents a day. So,
Oh wow,
yes, well they've
that's
lowered
pretty
it.
low.
Yeah, they've lowered it down.
Yeah.
So if
Oh,
that, I think it might be closer to like 10 now. It is how much I've
dang.
calculated, but I won't go through the calculations now. I'll be talking about that in a future video. But in my opinion, if it's more than $100 a month to make any significant strides, absolutely not. It is not beer money. That's more than low financial commitment. And in my opinion, and ideally, you don't want to spend any money. So
Yeah, right. And the other thing that we have to consider is that all of the social casinos, they all, many of them have high minimums. So
right.
if you want to do a cash out, not gift card, because some of these they have a $10 gift card limit,
Hmm.
but they have a like $50 to $100. Some of them are $100 minimum.
Yeah.
Wow Vegas, for example, has a $100 minimum just to cash out.
As
So
does Chumba,
it's
as
not.
does Moto, as does yeah, Chumba, Moto, I believe Chance does now. I could be wrong on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. Yeah, some of them are 50. Lucky Land's
Sweep
50.
slots,
Paul's is
sweep
50.
slots.
Scoop slots. That's one. Yeah, high
Lucky
five
Bird is
casino.
30. Lucky Bird's 30.
It is that one. Yeah, but that one, in order, well, that one, I think Lucky Bird, like in order to make any significant progress in Lucky Bird, and to do it fast, like you got to put like $50 down.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to, otherwise you're going to take forever to kind of get anywhere with that,
Yeah.
because the bonus, because you get like permanent bonuses with that, and it's like a sort of an investment. And there's strategies for that particular site. So I think some of this could also be, graded site by site whether or not it's considered to be beer money, because if you have a $50 minimum and they're offering you $1 a day, like that's low barrier to entry.
Right.
It's low commitment. Whereas if you have something that's giving you 50 cents a day and it's $100 minimum, well, that one's a little bit of a tougher sell. When we could start calling that beer money.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a little bit of gray that comes with this. When you consider like all of the sites and not just like as social casinos as one whole thing.
And it's not just the financial commitment and also especially with casinos, the financial commitment, I should say, gets to me the most because of what gambling can bring, the psychologies behind online gambling, especially nowadays. It's becoming a serious problem. Look,
Mm-hmm.
I grew up. I'm born and raised in Las Vegas. I grew up around casinos. Like casinos are all I know. I used to play. I played poker semi-pro at the Hard Rock, the Luxor, the Bellagio. There are a couple others
Nice.
as well. Yeah, I played in several areas. I went to 1-2 no limit. I played 2-5. I played 5-10. And 5-10 minimum balance is $750 to get in. Well, at least for Bellagio. They could have changed it. This was way back in 2011. And staring down your pile and putting down $750 to play and staring down realizing this is more than a month's rent at the time for me. All right, $750 was. And just kind of being scared off by like, you could literally lose more than a month's rent in a single hand. Just kind of spooked me out a little bit. But I feel like a lot of people don't have that same look because they don't see the chips with online gambling that they do on these social casinos. Like $750, just a number that's on the very top of the screen, sometimes not even seen while you are playing.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I'm like, this is fine if you have self-control. and think you can do at least mine, let alone Tasty Wallets. I don't know if I don't know. I don't even know if I could do what Tasty Wallets is doing, but it really is going to come down to, can you handle this psychologically? And I feel like this is not going to be for everyone.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
Like, especially with you. Like, I think I would say I'm in the top. Like, I don't want to brag or anything, but reading up a statistics on, there was this channel called Breaking Points. One of my usual YouTube channels. I hate to go political on this one, just this once, guys. The guy on that show was talking about social casinos, and that only like 5% of people are actually making money on these social casinos / social casino sportsbook apps. Out of like 95% lose money. And what's insane about that? So think about that for a second. If you are just making money on this and just cashing out, you're in the top 5% of people who are making money on these social casinos. Imagine what someone like Tasty's got to be like the top 0.1 over here, maybe 0.01.
And you know what's interesting about that is that there's actually someone else in the social casino hackers channel, which I actually got a lot of inspiration from. His name is A. Felipe. He's now known as Penguin, but A. Felipe is his previous handle. So he's 19, and he's making like $10,000 a month doing this.
And he doesn't do any like duplicate accounts or anything, right? He just it's all his.
Well, I think he started doing that recently, but because he's like, I got like a second person that's a roommate, and I can, sign up for an account for them, and they can pay me back and stuff like. Yeah, so he's got a little bit of kind of some great stuff going. I would definitely not recommend doing that.
Don't.
You can get in a lot of trouble. With like identity theft, and so definitely don't recommend doing. Something like that. So
I wouldn't even recommend doing this. Period. That's why I barely mention about this on the channel.
Yeah, it's like, and the other thing is that tax season hasn't come yet, so I haven't put in all of my deductions yet. I'm trying to do something called Schedule C, which
I do it all the time.
Okay, so
every year I got to do this. I do have an LLC, so a lot of the stuff I do is a business expense, but social casinos is not.
You gotta have like separate bank account, separate credit card. Everything's got to be separate from your personal stuff to be able to do this stuff, and just have it all. Spreadsheets. You've seen my spreadsheets. For those of you who have seen my spreadsheets, I have a spreadsheet that has all. And if you actually look at the actual spreadsheet, like what you see is the number, but if you actually select the stuff that's on there, like there's a whole bunch of numbers on there, and all those numbers is every single expense that I've recorded in there, and every single time that I got paid something, it's on there, and it's like plus 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 plus, and then what you see is just the result.
Right.
So, or minus for the expenses, and then there's a section for I just kind of add those together, and I do all kinds of checks and balances. I keep receipts, everything, and not all sites have receipts. I've had to do screenshots. It's a lot of effort to do Schedule C. So it's not just me going in and just spending a whole bunch of money and just collecting the profit. I'm also doing a lot of like hours and hours of work to just keep track of all this stuff, and so I'm able to submit all this stuff during tax season and get all my deductions and be able to have to pay the tax on the money that I've made.
Yeah, compare that to me,
and do it in a way that I'm not owing money to the government.
Yeah, compare that to me, who's just doing I have it on my personal accounts and stuff. My social casinos are all personal, so it's all in the personal. I don't count it as my business expenses at all because I don't use it for that.
And you have to. Yeah, they will not. If you use a business credit card, they will not accept it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it, everybody. So you see here, this is kind of the bit of the pro. Yeah, there's some rewards here, and a lot of people are seeing this and might be an easy way to make extra beer money. But at the same time, you have to worry about the dangers behind everything and how difficult it actually is to get into this, and how quickly it can turn into a side income. So,
no, but you got to be careful because you get addicted, and we don't. The last thing we want is to on the one hand, like pretty much everyone who's watching here is an adult. There might be some people who are not, but we're under the assumption that the people that we're talking with are adults. They're responsible people.
Don't bet your Robux money, kids.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like the underlying assumption behind doing these kinds of videos, because if that's not you, if you're not responsible, if you have don't even do this.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be responsible for your bad decisions. So just don't do this.
And having grown up in Vegas and seeing people desperate to make money on these casinos and stuff, I can tell you right now, you will lose. And one of the things that I learned from my professor back at UNLV, Professor Pushkin Kashru, he said that over time, if you have a negative expected value, and all these casinos are negative expected value, if you have less than 100% cash back, the expected value over time is negative. And over time, over an infinity amount of time, no matter how much money you have in a game of negative expected value, you will hit zero. You will lose everything. And even if you have a positive expected value, there is a chance you will still hit zero.
That's true too. Yeah. And the other thing is that these casinos, they absolutely love it when people put some money and they hit big. They hit big, because what people who hit big, what they're going to do is they're going to chase it, and they're going to chase it, and they're going to I'm going to hit big again. I'm going to want to hit big again, and they're going to chase it, and then eventually they're going to go to zero, and then they put a deposit again. Look, I'm going to hit big again, and so you have bad money chasing after or you have good money chasing after bad money, and then it's just like you said. Even with the bonuses, you can just go, which is like what you said, 95%, because that's what they're doing.
Yep.
They're not doing this mathematically where you think about how much of a bonus can I get. You think about how much I can, what's the average that I'm going to get for going through the money at least one time, and then you do the one time, and then you just cash it out, and then you don't play it again until the next time. And something else that I haven't mentioned yet about in terms of collecting the free money, because a lot of the social casinos that I do, I don't actually make deposits because they don't, I get perma banned or they just don't offer promotions.
Right.
So what I'll do is I like to wait until my balance is a little bit higher than the minimum cash out. So if it's Wild Vegas, for example, I'll collect 50 cents a day on that. I think it starts at 30, and if you make a certain amount of deposits, and you go through and you get to the next VIP level, you can get 50 instead of 30. So
right.
So even if it's 30 cents a day, eventually you do it months and months and months and months of that, eventually you can get to, like, say, $110. So it's like $10 above where I would cash out. Right. And so what I would do is I would just play through the money, because I'm a little bit above. So there's a high chance that once I play through it one time, then I'll be able to cash it out. And now I don't have to sit here and, like, every day have to try to play this game for, like, a couple of minutes every day. I mean, you can do that, but that's just not how I typically do things. I'm someone who likes to have a nice long session. That's not saying that you can't just play a game a couple of minutes a day. If that's you, go ahead and do that. I'm just saying, for me, that's what I prefer to do.
What I prefer to do, especially with the free money stuff, is look at your redeemable balance, look at your current balance, subtract them. So, like, for example, let's say that my redeemable balance is $20 and my current balance is $31. So 31 minus 20 is 11. And I go play $1 minimum blackjack. I just have to calculate in my head, okay, I will only play 11. So when I'm playing blackjack, I'm playing 11 hands. Now, if I double down at any time, it counts as an extra hand. Remember that. Right. If I split, it counts as an extra hand. So,
right. If you split and then double down, that's 3 hands.
Yeah, split and double.
Like, if you split
and double down
twice. On one splits.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so that's 3. And then if you split and double down twice, it's like 4 hands. Right? Yeah, okay. So yeah. But once you've hit 11, stop. Exit, just press the X on the button, and that's it. So that's one of my tips regarding that, is just make sure that you do that. And with slot machines, same thing. Spin counts as 1. Spin counts as 2. Free spins do not count. Keep spinning. I think that's part of the reason why I like Baccarat the best, because that one, there's no, like, modifications or anything. It's just bet, bank, or go. And French roulette as well. Same thing. Just bet and go, bet and go, bet and go.
Yeah, it's semi-automated, which is really nice.
Yeah, except for the I think the prison one, which is I think you get a second chance. That's the only one where it kind of throws you off. But the half surrender one is my favorite. Is honestly favored to me. But yeah, so that's pretty much the good and bad of social casinos. Thank you, Tasty, for this discussion. This was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and thank you for having me again. It's been a while since I've been on. I've been, like I said, busy.
Yeah, are you going to stick around for Beer Money Mania?
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that.
All right,
probably not. Yeah,
right, that's
kind
fine.
of unfortunate, but
yeah,
I have a lot of like one of the things, and I will share this. I don't mind this being on your channel.
All right.
One of the things that I've been doing recently is I've been trying to prioritize, more like with my family, with my wife, just trying to spend more time with them and less time on my phone, on my computer. And it's really just like our relationship has just been so much better since I just cut back on just spending so much time doing this stuff. So it's definitely something I would recommend doing. Just take a break if you need to, but yeah, just spend time with your family. It's very, very, very important to do that.
Yeah, and especially for me, like this being 2025, I have made a goal of myself to focus a little bit less on mini games. I kind of put a lot of commitment into it when the challenges started, but I'm only doing golf, racer, and occasionally, if I have time, I'll do one of the other three. But I'm basically only focusing on golf and racer now.
I'm doing top 500. That's it. That's all I do.
Oh yeah,
now.
yeah. I do top 500 for the other three. I'm saying like my focus now is golf and racer.
Right.
On the other two,
Right.
on the other two. So golf racer.
I do that on all the mini games. Like that's how much I'm just that's kind of where I'm at right now with that. I can spend a half hour, I can get top 500, and I still get like a 200 AB cash out, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So I could take the rest of that hour and a half that I normally was like. I will say though that if my family's asleep, I will absolutely do a 2-hour event.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often, but yeah, it's just so much nicer to just be able to have more time with my family. And to be honest with you, I think I enjoy that a lot more than I do playing the mini games.
Oh yeah, I've been okay. You know what? I'm gonna mention this too. A lot of people, I've talked about this on my channel a lot. I've been replacing a lot of my mini game nights, playing a tabletop game that is like a fusion between baseball and Dungeons and Dragons. It's called Dead Ball. And I've actually built like our own league around it. We've invited one of my childhood friends, Alan, to join us with this league. And starting next season, Arn is going to be joining us. Yes, the Arn from the Atlas Earth mini games will be joining us, and we'll be running a team as well. So like the four of us are going to be playing this game, and I'm trying to introduce it to other people as well. I'm going to Dead Ball Con in mid-January. I probably will have done it by the time this is out. So yeah, I actually do have an interest outside of beer money, and I've been trying to embrace the tabletop elements, tabletop and sport. Something like my wife and I, we love baseball. We're huge baseball fans, obviously Kannapolis Cannonballers, and building this tabletop game and making a nice little fusion between them has been a lot of fun, and we've really just kind of enjoyed playing it whenever we can, especially on her days off. And in place of mini games, like I think we started this in December the 15th. I skipped a 3-hour fishing event for Dead Ball.
Nice.
And I finished top 500 with a second place in the state. And honestly, I don't miss those 300 Atlas bucks that I would have probably gained finishing top 25 or 50.
Yeah, and I don't either. To be honest with you, I'm very grateful that I decided to make that change, and I feel so much better for it. So definitely just would recommend taking a break from mini games or reducing the time to spend time with your loved ones.
Yeah, so that's been our hour, everyone. If you like this video, please give it a like. Comment on what you think of this, of social casinos and all that, and please heed our warnings on them. And don't forget to subscribe to Beer Money Engine. Go check out his Atlas Earth guides as well. They include social casinos as well. He will be your authority on social casinos, not me. So
Appreciate that.
leave that. Yeah, no problem. So I am Pharaoh Silver signing out. I will see you all next video. Bye, everybody.
Have a great day.